UFC 293 is happening this coming weekend. It was like a switch was turned on yesterday, Monday morning, and the UFC and the shills behind them decided to tell people, hey, let's get excited about this upcoming event. And over the course of the last 24 hours, they've really started to push this thing to its detriment, in my belief, because now we have Laura Sanko on commentary. We're all supposed to be excited about that. Now we have Jared Cannonier coming in as a backup fighter. We're all supposed to be excited about that. And then we get all the promotional work coming out yesterday from Israel Adesanya. And I'm going to go through one or two of the interviews here, and I can't understand how we are being told and led to believe that this is the face of the UFC now. So we have Sugar Sean O'Malley, whose wife sleeps with other men and probably impregnated her, and he's the number one guy that we're all supposed to be like, yes, this is who we want to be, this is who we want the kids to grow up to be. And on the flip side of that, Israel Adesanya, the biggest fighter in the world, bigger than Conor McGregor, bigger than everybody, bigger than Muhammad Ali. So what way does he approach the promotional work for this upcoming fight on Saturday? He starts talking about therapy, he starts talking about face moisturizer, he starts talking about nail varnish, he talks about TikTok dancing, and he starts to inappropriately and erotically touch some of the guys that he's interviewing with. Doesn't look good to me.
Once you've taken the red pill, you see the way in all things.
I watched The Embedded last night and we saw Sean Strickland in a really toned down version of Strickland. He's walking around holding hands with his chick. We do have a lot of people walking up to him on the streets in Australia saying, I hope you knock this dude out. So that shows us where the popularity is over there with Israel Adesanya. But it was a very tame first episode and it was a very strange one. It really did feel like a Monday morning episode. You know, after you've been out on a bender all weekend and you're like, dude, I gotta go to work tomorrow. And you get in there and everything's in slow motion and you can't believe people are not feeling the exact same way you're feeling. That's what the promotional switch that was turned on yesterday felt like for UFC 293. I'm not excited one little bit for it. So the Mac Life put out this interview yesterday. I guess it's perfect timing because it's an Israel Adesanya fight week and it was the premiere of his documentary, I guess, called Arsebender or Stylebender or whatever it's called. And Oscar Willis. Do we need to say more about him? We know exactly what that dude is about. So let's have a little look at this interview and see what the baddest man on the planet is talking about.
As someone who also did therapy, I think one thing I found out, it teaches you about yourself, but it also teaches you about other people. Like, oh, this person's handling this emotion because of this shit, their dad didn't hug them, you know?
I take therapy to deal with people who need to go to therapy. That's literally life now.
Oh yeah, so we have Oscar Willis here and he's like, dude, I went to therapy, and Israel is like, yeah, you went to therapy, and he's got his hand on his shoulder like nice and inappropriately, and he's like looking into his eyes, and the two of them are talking about their feelings, and of course there's a lot of projection involved there because we didn't go to therapy for us. We went to therapy because of other people and we're trying to help all these other people. It's not a me problem, it's a you problem. Okay, what are we talking about here? This is fight week, right? Okay, this is the biggest star on the planet, right? Okay, let's continue.
I'm like, you definitely have your own issues. This is not, people were trying to bring it on me. I'm like, that's not a me issue. That's a you problem.
So,
deal with it.
Armchair psychologist, what's wrong with Sean? Why does he talk the way he does?
Sean's very insecure. I'll tell you, no, you only have one.
So as I said yesterday, the shills got the memo and everyone started talking about Israel Adesanya. And what we kind of saw from Brendan Schaub, from Luke Thomas, from all these guys was that not only was Sean Strickland nowhere near capable of actually winning this fight, everyone said that they can't see a path for him winning this fight, which is an interesting one, but we'll get to that in a second. All these guys kind of hammered the same nail in terms of Sean is a messed up guy. He's a bit of an embarrassment to the UFC. Nobody actually likes or cares what this guy says because he's kind of damaged. And this is what we're getting here. What do you think is wrong with Sean Strickland? There's absolutely nothing wrong with him. Why can't this question be put towards Israel here when he talks about his nail varnish, when he talks about TikTok dancing? We know just over the last 24 hours, Guru went after him and absolutely exposed him for some of the most disgusting shit that you'll ever see in your life. Is there anyone going to ask him a question about this? Or are we just going to play the narrative that Sean Strickland is this seriously messed up guy who espouses opinions that nobody cares about and that his mind has been somewhat indoctrinated by right-wing boogeymen or something like that? I think that's what we're going for.
It's funny, right? Because everyone kind of just go, oh, f the fight, the press conference. But I sort of feel Sean's not exactly a poker player. He kind of reveals his plan. Like, he's going to call you Chinese. He's going to bring up the anime and stuff. So when you know that's ahead, is it a bit like Eminem in 8 Mile? You're like, well, I can sort of just say it myself at this point.
I mean, you see me. Look at my nails right now. They're ugly. I can't knock this guy out with these nails. I need to make them pretty. So I'm going to get a mobile nail salon, come to my room, do my thing. I'm gonna break my nose on his face.
He's going to call you Chinese. He's going to talk about anime. We know what he's going to say. So this is going to be your MMM lose yourself moment where you can absolutely destroy him, both in the octagon and in the press conference. What about if Sean Strickland talks about actual truths that these guys don't want to bring up? Like the shit with the dog, the shit with the servants, the shit with the racism. Are we going to approach that or talk about that in any way, shape or form? I don't think any of these guys are capable. How could they be? If we have guys like Oscar Willis, Luke Thomas, the submission radio guys, they're all here like gooing and gaying into Israel's face. It's quite embarrassing. And you call yourself journalists? This is the MMA journalism?
You said you're going to do a TikTok dance over his grave. Any particular dance, or are you making it up on the fly?
No, it's already, it's one.
Who am I even asking, dude? I know that setup.
Yeah, I like...
Oh my god, how embarrassing is this? Are you going to do a TikTok dance over his grave? You remember when Conor McGregor said that he was going to put Dustin Poirier in the grave and all the shills came out when he crossed the line? He crossed the line with the shit talk here. You can't say that type of stuff to people. And then Dustin, the bitch, the douchebag, started crying. You remember that?
There's no holds bar with the trash talk, right? But murder is something you don't clown around. You know, there's no coming back from that. And this guy was saying he was going to murder me and all kinds of stuff. He was telling me he was going to kill me tomorrow. I'm going to leave here in a coffin.
Here, the boys are joking about Israel Adesanya TikTok dancing over Sean Strickland's grave. And what's so cringy about this whole interaction that this MMA journalist, Oscar Willis, is so into the nail polish and the therapy and the TikTok stuff. And they're just like creaming all over each other. It's beyond weird.
I forgot I said that, and when I was like, oh yeah, I did say that. I gotta do it. So I have to knock him out just so I can do the TikTok dance. That's the only reason I'm knocking him out. Just so I can do a TikTok dance over his grave.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but two more quick ones. Do you think it is, from a PR standpoint, a mistake that Drix du Plessis didn't fly himself out here to try and insert himself in the narrative?
He didn't. I just assumed he did.
I don't believe he's here, no.
Idiot.
Now this comes back to what Chael was saying the other day. I actually do think it would have been a good idea for Drix du Plessis to make his way out there. The arrogance of Israel here to be like, he didn't make his way out here? He's not here already? It's like, dude, the world doesn't revolve around you. And as we spoke about already, this is a shit show of a card. On top of that, the UFC seem hell-bent on making it worse every day. Laura Sanko's going to be debuting on the commentary box. What? You know, Jared Cannonier's here. This is a shit show. Even the embedded last night was not interesting. We're waiting for this like crazy ass Sean Strickland thing to happen. Absolutely none. He was walking around holding hands with his bird. It was bizarre. I think this whole fight weekend, the card itself, is going to be a real eye opener for people.
He could have jumped in there and called me a nigga too.
Sean might.
I wish he does. I wish a nigga would.
Why do you want Sean Strickland and Drix du Plessis to jump in there and call you these names? Is Oscar going to ask that question there? No, he's going to laugh and slurp and lick up everything that falls out of this dude's mouth.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah. Or call me, I don't know, Chinese. Ooh,
yeah. Well,
no. It's so bad to call me.
I don't even know whether I need to say anything else about that. You know, Israel is so hot on the mic that he makes this like awkward reference to race. The guy tries to end the interview and then he jumps back in and starts rambling again. Let's jump over here to the submission radio guys. Wait till you see the interaction that he had with these guys right off the bat. Right off the bat. There was no even foreplay. It was straight in.
Dude, I just wonder, like, what goes through your mind when you literally moments...
Really smooth skin right now. I don't know what you've done, but good job.
So the dude is trying to conduct a legitimate interview here. He's actually asking a question about the Arsbender documentary, but Israel doesn't have any interest in talking about that. He's staring at the guy's face. He's got that look in his eye like he hasn't eaten in 3 days and there's a big juicy steak on the table and he just wants it. He wants to rip into it. This is weird.
I guess like it's moisturized, it's glowing. You look good too.
Thank you.
Right?
So he brings in the second guy here. You don't want to leave anyone out, is he? You gotta grab him in here as well.
How nice are you, man? This is all about you and you're complimenting us, man.
Well, I just say what it is. You have nice skin right now.
It's fight week. It's fight week. UFC 293, Sean Strickland. It's fight week and this is what we're doing in terms of promotion. Interesting.
I love your haircut.
Oh, thank you.
Fade. Yep, I love the haircut.
Thank you so much. It's a cute little haircut. I got it for your movie premiere. Dude, I remember...
So cute little haircuts, cute little premieres, cute little skin, nail varnish, TikTok dancing, therapy, and Sean Strickland is the cringy one. Imagine that's where we are as UFC fans now. The narrative is pushing people to say that you are cringe if you don't do TikTok, if you don't wear nail varnish, if you don't do therapy, and you don't wear moisturizer on your face. Okay, we know what's going on here, so guys, right? We know exactly what's going on. And I was watching Schaub yesterday, and he said the same thing that everyone else was saying, that, look, Strickland doesn't have a chance. Nobody can see a path to Strickland winning this fight. And I've kind of got to agree. I can't see it myself. Israel's takedown defense is really good. I don't see Strickland going for the takedown. It's just not what he does. He's going to stand and bang, and it's going to end up badly for him. I would love if he won. I would love if he pulls the biggest upset in UFC history and pans this guy out. I just can't see it happening. But one thing Brendan Schaub did say was that more people relate to Sean Strickland than they do to Israel Adesanya. And I heard this and I was thinking, okay, this is good. I like where you're going with this, because we know that we're being fed a narrative that Israel is the biggest star in the world. Schaub is pushing back on it, but his explanation for his statement was a little bit off. Israel is such an elite striker and an elite fighter. He's like the Michael Jordan of UFC. We're never going to see anything like him again. And people can't relate to that because we're all normies and we're never going to be that good. And there is sense to be made from that statement, but he said, Strickland, not really great at wrestling, not really great at jiu-jitsu. He's got some okay stand-up. He's more relatable to the everyman out there. And that made another little bit of sense. And I'll push back on that and I'll put it to you this way. Who do you, the regular man who works the day job, has a family, and loves watching a bit of MMA and a little bit of football on the weekend with a couple of beers, who do you relate to more? Someone like Sean Strickland that believes in traditional family values and he believes in his own constitution, all these type of things? Or do you relate to Israel Adesanya, an upper class kid who fled his country for the refuge of a Western country and then complains about it, who espouses racism on a regular basis without any repercussions, who has a very interesting sexual preference when it comes to animals and bestiality and things like that, who I would say has a huge conglomerate of LGBTQ fans that are actually driving up the numbers on Instagram and things like that, on top of the fact that he's probably number 2 on the cringe list on the UFC roster, and he's extremely annoying. So Schaub was almost there. He just got it wrong in terms of why people don't relate to Izzy as opposed to the regular guys like Dricus du Plessis or Sean Strickland. And I've also seen the uptake in people shilling for him. If we look over here, we'll see this. For UFC 293 pre-game preview, Adesanya Strickland. So this is the morning combat, Luke Thomas. Let's see what he has to say about Israel Adesanya.
I mean, also, like, you know, this is a huge moment for Izzy. We've had this debate here a million times. How popular is he? How popular is he? I really believe we have to say out loud, again, my bias is well known here.
You love the guy.
Well, he turned a corner with that win over Alex. Like, this is the highest his popularity has 100%. Ever been. I feel.
So we have a bunch of yes men standing there and they're all like, yeah, 100%. His popularity is the highest it's ever been since knocking out Alex Pereira. I honestly believe that it's the inverse. It's the complete opposite of that. Why are you forcing this down our throats? So we can understand where we're going here right off the bat this week. We're going to be promoting Israel Adesanya. He's exponentially grown into this mega star. He can't put a foot wrong in the eyes of these guys. What about Sean Strickland? What are they saying about him?
Could he have like a Colby Covington Brazil moment, which was controversial and to a lot of people gross, but nevertheless, it put him on the map. For better or for worse. It did.
You lost.
Right.
So you can see the disgust in Luke Thomas's face there when he talks about Colby Covington and when he talks about Sean Strickland. Remember, Strickland's the guy that stepped in to save this card. I don't understand where this card was going. I never understood where this card was going. Whitaker or du Plessis was never going to be ready to fight in Sydney. Where was this card? Who was going to be on it? Why was Israel Adesanya adamant to be on it? Because it was his side of the world? It never made sense to me. We'll see MMA media coming out with this stuff. Israel Adesanya, 8.5 followers on Instagram, number 1 active UFC fighter. John Jones is number 2, Charles Oliveira. Izzy is the biggest star not named McGregor. So the storyline is clear this week. The memo has been sent out to the shills. You can see it across the board on social media and on YouTube. People want you to believe that Israel Adesanya is the biggest star ever, and this isn't going to be a disaster of a week. This isn't going to be a disaster of a fight night, and that everything that you see with your own 2 eyes, don't believe it. Believe what we tell you to believe. That's what the UFC are trying to do with Israel Adesanya. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, and share if you can. Cheers.